Hello there and welcome to my new mini-series Star Wars The Clone Wars The Original Seasons. In this video we will be covering Season 5. Some of you may be saying, well, didn't we get a full 5th season of Star Wars The Clone Wars? And while you would be technically correct, due to the Disney acquisition of Star Wars causing last minute changes, there's more to the story of how we ended up with the version of Season 5 that aired. Season 5 of Star Wars The Clone Wars premiered on September 29th, 2012 on Cartoon Network, with the episode Revival. This was the first episode of a 4-part arc covering Maul and Savage Opress since we last saw them at the end of Season 4. The season ended with the 4th and final part of the Ahsoka framed arc titled The Wrong Jedi on March 2nd, 2013. Unfortunately, as we know too well, this season ended up being the last season of the show to air on Cartoon Network and technically the last full season of the show. Though what might not be as well known is that this season was also somewhat shortened than what was originally planned. While the final version of Season 5 premiered with what was initially seemed to be a single episode focusing on Maul and Savage, this wasn't always the plan, which is also reflected in the production codes being before Revival. More on them later. A War on Two Fronts, the first episode of the 4-part Battle of Onderon arc, was originally planned as a Season 5 premiere episode, and is even reflected as such on the Season 5 Blu-ray release. The moving of Revival was a change done by Dave Filoni, so it would have most likely stayed the same had the original full version of Season 5 aired. In the final version of Season 5, the second full story arc we got was the Youngling arc, consisting of the episodes The Gathering, A Test of Strength, Bound for Rescue, and A Necessary Bond. This story arc was initially considered as a pilot to a spin-off series from the Clone Wars before becoming a Clone Wars arc itself. In an earlier reported episode order from the magazine Star Wars Insider 137, this story arc was not listed, and in its place was the story arc that originally came after the Onderon arc, the Rush Clovis trilogy of episodes, that in the end were delayed to what became the shortened 6th season subtitled The Lost Missions. Originally intended for Season 5 as seen in the original trailer for the season, and they reported on episode order, this story arc has some elements left in its final placement that alludes to its original Season 5 placement. The first and most notable of these is the fact that Palpatine is again voiced by Ian Abercrombie instead of Tim Curry. This is due to these 3 episodes voice acting being produced earlier, before his death on January 26, 2012. The second and less obvious one that alludes to this arc having meant to air earlier is the fact that Obi-Wan's discussion with Anakin about Satine is done in such a way that alludes to Satine still being alive, when her death aired before in the episode The Lawless. The original reported order of Season 5 does not include either the Youngling arc or the Ahsoka framed arc. I believe this is not due to them not being intended for Season 5, but instead to hide spoilers for the Ahsoka framed arc. The Clone Wars production episodes never matched their release number. This was due to a multitude of factors, including them producing 26 episodes for production season while only airing 22, as well as the early seasons having ordered the episodes in such a way so they get familiar with the animation tools. For the original Season 5, I believe the following production coded arcs would have aired: 415 to 418 The Battle of Onderon, 419 to 421 The Rush Clovis Trilogy, 422 to 425 The Younglings, 426 to 503 The Shadow Collective, 504 to 507 The Droids, and 508 to 511 Ahsoka Framed. This would have given Season 5 a total of 23 episodes and a total of 6 story arcs. As you can see, the production order of the story arcs intended for Season 5 even without the 3 Rush Clovis episodes is different to the order that they aired in the final version. At this point during the show, they had settled into their structure of having essentially standalone stories that were 3 to 4 episodes long. This, along with the 3-year development that these story arcs would have had, allowed them to switch around for thematic purposes, having a mostly minimal effect on other story arcs. Here is the final order of the story arcs that we got when Season 5 aired on Cartoon Network, with the Rush Clovis trilogy being moved to the next season. Here you can see that the Droid story arc will switch with the Shadow Collective arc, compared to its production order, which I think was done for thematic reasons as to space out the more major event-focused story arcs between more contained ones. Based on what was reporting in Star Wars Insider 137, I have created a list of what I believe the original 23 episode Season 5 would have looked like. Here you can see that I have placed the Youngling arc between the Shadow Collective and Ahsoka Framed. This is due to how it was not listed in Star Wars Insider 137, which is also the case for the Ahsoka Framed arc episodes. I believe this to be the case based on how Pablo Hidalgo has said Season 5 was shortened and moved from primetime showing after the Disney acquisition. If the Youngling arc wasn't meant to air in Season 5, the season would have actually been shorter at 19 episodes. Another reason I think the Unling arc would have aired in Season 5 is because the end of Season 5 had to reveal that Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order, and I personally think, despite the standalone nature this show's stories are known for, it still would have been kind of alienating to see her leave the Order and then have the Unling arc air afterwards and have Ahsoka suddenly back in the Jedi Order. If this season had been aired on prime time like the previous 4 seasons, the episode would most likely premiere the day before they ended up, on a Friday instead of a Saturday. And having an additional 3 episodes, this season would have most likely aired until the last week of March instead of ending during the first week. With 23 episodes, this would have been the longest season of the Clone Wars to date, beating the previous 4 seasons by 1 episode, definitely beating the episode count for what the final versions of seasons 6 and 7 were, and just slightly beating what was planned for the original 6th, 7th and 8th seasons. But those will have to wait for their own respective videos. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe and comment. Until the next time, goodbye.